So, I'm back interviewing Bob Aaron of Aaron & Aaron, a second-generation lawyer from a law firm that's been around since 1930, which is sort of a Toronto record. Bob, we were talking about wills and trusts and probates. Let's go somewhere. Let's talk about the living. I'm a senior. I want to put my affairs in order. And I come to you. Like a little bit of a checklist. What should a senior be looking at to put their affairs in order?
I think the first thing is the senior, or in fact anybody, has to have a readily accessible list of the assets, of what the person owns and where it all is, so that there won't be a wild goose chase trying to find assets that do or did not exist. I remember I was the executor of an estate years ago, and I found a key for a safety deposit box. But we didn't know where it was.
Oh, no.
I wrote 100 banks in the vicinity of the location of the deceased, 100 letters back in the day, and we couldn't find the safety deposit box.
Isn't that terrible? So eventually they had to drill out the box, though, don't they?
Well, of course, it could have been forfeited years ago. It could have been
a dead key to start with.
Yeah. So from time to time, I check the Bank of Canada website to see if there's any assets belonging to that person.
So what should someone do step by step? They list their assets.
Make a list of assets.
And not only just a list of what it is, but where it is, where they are. Okay.
Yeah. Now, sometimes if we don't have that list and somebody dies, we can go backwards through the income tax returns and say, there's an account with this bank, let's find it. So you can do a reverse search, but it's a lot easier if somebody says, okay, here are the assets, the stocks, the bonds, the bank accounts, the term deposits,
okay, so
where they are.
A prudent person would have all their assets listed. What else would they do?
It's not just the assets. It's the codes to the websites of the banks.
I think that having passwords and everything.
Passwords all listed up.
Yes.
What else should they do?
Yes.
They should decide where they want it to go.
The will itself.
For the will.
For the will.
Who do you want to get these assets? If there's any grandchildren or minors involved, at what age do they get? Do they get when they get married? Do they get when they're 18? Do they get when they're going to university? Is it staggered? Is it given 10% at 18, 20% at 21? When do you want them to have the money?
Yes.
And who gets the rest? How it's distributed, when it's distributed, and to who it's distributed.
Do you find some people come to you? Let's not kid ourselves. We have a pretty large population of people that are drug abusers and all kinds of things. And what happens? People cut their kids out of the will in a lot of cases, don't they? People
cut their kids out, or they'll provide for a trust so that a trustee, a third party, can say, okay, you're responsible now, we'll give you some money. You're not responsible, we're going to hold it back, or we're going to pay your rent, or we're going to make sure that your needs are taken care of, but that the money doesn't go through your hands, it goes to wherever. So we're not going to let you buy a car, but we're going to buy a car for you.
Yes.
And we're going to put it in the name of the estate or in the name of a trustee so that you can't go out and sell it.
I sold a house not far from here where there was a good inheritance. He ended up, his share was about $500,000. And how old would he be? About 60. And it's doled out to him for the rest of his life. He's a great guy, just not responsible. He'd give the money away to everybody. They recognize that.
I've seen that.
They recognize it. It's not that there's anything wrong with him. He's just too good a soul. And they were worried about him handling the money.
So you have to know your beneficiaries.
Yes.
And
be realistic about it.
And be realistic and understand whether they can handle sudden gobs of money.
Now, what about a living will? Is it really necessary? In other words, I get in a car accident, I'm comatose. Do I really?
The term living will is an American term.
I sort of know
it's somewhat
that.
misleading. In Canada or in Ontario, it's called a power of attorney for personal care.
Okay.
It allows the attorney to make life decisions. Am I going to put this person in a nursing home? Am I going to take over the feeding and the nursing care of this person? And ultimately, am I going to give a do not resuscitate order? Am I going to allow for surgery in the end stages of life?
So wait a minute now. So now what you're saying to me, this is really interesting. I have to have an ethical and moral discussion with my lawyer who may be of a religious belief that he couldn't pull the plug, and yet that's my wish. I have to discuss this.
That's right.
So Bob, if something happened to me, would you pull the plug?
Well, what I do is when I prepare these, I read a typical pull the plug clause.
Yes.
And it says, if I am in a situation where my doctors have certified that death is imminent and that the application of surgery or life-sustaining procedures would only serve to prolong the dying process, I authorize my trustee. It's not an obligation, it's an authorization to my trustee to withhold any special procedures or surgery and just let life take its normal course. So that can be in the power of attorney document, or it can be a discussion with the attorney.
When I was originally creating the accredited senior agent course, I think I spoke to you back in 2006, 5, whatever it was, and I said to you, I heard an estimation that the 50% of Canadians don't have wills. I think it was your comment was, it's an overestimate.
That's right.
It's really that bad, Bob? People don't do their wills and put their houses in order?
Coming to a lawyer and making a will means that you have to face your mortality.
But we're all...
And we have people who are in their 70s, 80s, or younger, who say, I'm not ready, I don't need it, it doesn't happen to me.
I don't need a fire alarm, I've never had a fire.
That's right, I don't need insurance.
Yeah.
So I've had clients, unfortunately, die in their 30s.
I had one with you.
Yes.
We get a woman, I was your realtor for a lady who was 30 years old.
And unfortunately, and that's why I say, if you are not going to die, you don't need a will. But if you are going to die, you really should have one, and you have to face your mortality.
It's sad when you think about the chaos that goes on and upon death. The chaos.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's not the deceased chaos.
No, they don't.
It's the family. It's leaving the mess to the family.
Wow. And of course, then we get into another topic, which is a great topic, which we can do hours on. Family wars, my all-time favorite
family
thing
wars.
In real estate that I deal with.
A good TV program.
Family wars. Yeah, we've seen some Lulus.
Well, you got to keep litigation lawyers employed. This can go on forever.
Family wars?
Absolutely.
I always say it's never about today. It's about who got the red wagon when they were 10 years old.
That's right.
It always comes back 30, 40 years later. The little red wagon.
You were Mom's favorite.
You were Mom's favorite. That's right. It never stops. Thanks, Bob. That was
Barry.
great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bob Aaron, Aaron and Aaron, Lawyers, Toronto.